Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Lenovo Legion S715ACH6. Alright, we're going to be using, looks like a JIS0 or J0 screwdriver to remove the screws from the bottom. Alright, you want to keep them in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them. So we have 4 going along the back where the hinges are, 2 here, and then we got 2 down here as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove all those screws. If this video helps you out, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. If you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. And yeah, other than that, let's go ahead and get these last few screws out and then go ahead and pop the bottom cover off. So we'll see. Hopefully this cover isn't going to be too difficult to remove. Usually I'll start from this side, but we'll see if this model is the same. Alright, so we got the 8 bottom screws out. Next we're going to go ahead and see if we can pop the bottom cover off. The customer, they had this keyboard cover on top and they said water was leaking from the roof and dripped into it, so we'll see if it can be revived or not. Alright, I'm going to get my fingernails in the little gap here and then I'm going to push on the palm rest area, see if we can pop the clips out that way. Okay, so just like this, and let's see, it doesn't seem to want to pop out, so we might have to go from the back or the side. Okay, so it's not coming out that way. All right, so let's go ahead and switch over, see if we can pop it out from the side. So we're gonna go from the side here and do the same thing. Okay, pushing on the palm rest, and then there. You want to be careful, I'm not pushing on the keyboard keys, I'm just pushing on the flat area, and you can see it kind of created a gap there. I'm going to rotate it to the other side and do the same thing. Okay. Let's see if we can pop this side out. Okay. And doesn't look like it popped out much. So let's try a suction cup. We'll go from the middle and just pull straight up. And no, it's not coming up. Yeah, this cover looks like it's going to be a pain. Actually, this side came out earlier from pulling on it, so let's see. Okay, we're going to rotate it sideways here. Since we got this side up, I'm going to pull up and work our way to the back. Alright, and that popped out. And usually it helps to kind of flex the cover in this way, so that's why when you pull from the middle, it's kind of bending it in that way and allows the clip to disconnect. This side, since I couldn't really lift that out, it's going to be more difficult, it seems. But let's see. Let's try going from the side here again one more time. Okay, so I'm going to push this way, and it is, okay, it is popping out some. Alright, and once we get that side out, we can go ahead and pull up. I'm pulling up with my fingernails here, I'm pushing down with my thumb, and you can see it pop this clip. Okay, so now we got this whole thing out. There are some clips in here, so I'm kind of pushing the cover side to side, and you can see it popped out on its own, and there we go. There's the cover removed. Okay. Here you can see inside. So far, I don't see any signs of bad liquid damage on here, but we are going to have to take the whole motherboard out and see what's going on. All right, so let's go ahead and remove the battery, but let's get a thumbnail real quick. So I'll center that. Okay, let's go ahead now and pop the battery up. There's some blue like thermal pad residue there. Okay. So we got 3 screws here. We're going to remove those 3. This one, and this one. All right, again, keep the screws in order. These screws are shorter than the bottom cover ones. Now that we got those 3, we should be able to lift this up slightly. Oh, they are hiding a screw underneath the SSD. So we are going to have to remove the M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD first. Remove that 1 screw. Looks like they put a plastic little bracket there. We'll lift the SSD up slightly, grab the sides, and then kind of just wiggle and pull just like this. And there's the SSD. All right. So they do put this little plastic piece here. That's not part of the SSD, and it slides off just like this. Okay, slide it back on, and that's how it holds the SSD in place. Also, this copper thing can come off as well if you want to wrap it on a new SSD, but we're gonna set that aside. Okay, we got this battery here. Battery model, let me actually zoom in a bit just on the battery a bit more. Battery model number is here, L20L4PD3. I don't know if you can see that from here, but all right, there you go, L20L4PD3. Right, now that we got that, we should be able to remove the last screw for the battery here. Okay, now that we got all 4 screws out, we can lift this up, and hopefully there's no other hidden screws, but this has little feet that stick under there. So you lift that and slide it forward, okay, or up, and then we can go ahead now and move the bottom out. Now we have more room. I'm gonna get my finger under here to hold at the bottom of this cable, and then my other finger on top, and we're just gonna wiggle this connector side to side, and that should pull the cable out. You wanna try and get as close to the connector as possible. All right, it's a little bit tricky here, but do that side to side, and there we go. Okay, so basically we're wiggling it like this to get the connector to walk itself out. So there you go, and pay attention if you replace the battery that the red wires are going to this side and the black wires are going towards this cable. All right, that's the battery removed. We'll set that aside. All right, then we got to pop this bottom cover off to get to the RAM if you want to replace the RAM. There's a lot of little components here. It looks like this is a slot for another M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD. It has the little plastic mount just like the other side, and then you can put an SSD across here. Okay, let's see if we can pop this little cover off. Okay, so I get underneath the little cover with my fingernails. I don't know if you can see there. Okay, just like that. We're gonna go to the other side, same thing. Go over here, same thing. It looks like they put this tape on top to kind of hold it down, so we are gonna have to peel this up. Okay. And I try and keep this thing flat if I can so it doesn't get a big crease in it, so I pull it this way as I kind of pull it up. There you go. So we're gonna set that aside. We're gonna pull these 2 tabs to the side. Stick of RAM pops up, and let's take a look. We have a 8 gig PC4 3200 AA. You should be okay to use any PC4 3200 AA RAM. This is 8 gig. You can put a 16. If they have a 32 gig, you can put that as well. Okay. I don't see another stick of RAM here. Underneath this heatsink is the GPU, and then under here is the CPU. Since I don't see any corrosion around it, I'm not going to pull the whole heatsink up. But for now, we're going to try and pull the whole motherboard out. Okay. So we have the wireless card here. We do need to disconnect the wireless antennas, so I do that by pulling up on the tail. There's the gray wire going to the white arrow and the black wire going to the black arrow. Again, I'm just going to pull up on the tail, just straight up like this. Okay, just get underneath and pull straight up. And there you go. Wireless antennas disconnected. And the wireless antennas, they seem to go underneath the motherboard. So, all right. It looks like there's tamper-proof sticker there. Technically, by law, they can't make it illegal, or they can't make it void your warranty if you take this out, but it does tell them that you did something to it and that they'll look for how you might have destroyed the computer. Okay, but of course that varies from place to place, so I can't really speak for everywhere, but at least in California, I'm pretty sure it's not legal for them to void warranties with this kind of sticker. So if you want, you can even just peel the sticker completely out. I'm going to try and see if I can save it, but I doubt it. It's going to be salvageable. It looks like it already kind of tore a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so let's just peel this sticker completely off. I'm just going to scrape it off just like that. But again, if you want, you can try and a little bit. It's somewhat in one piece, so I could technically try and put it back, but it does have a little crack in there. Okay, So let's see what else we got to remove here to get this thing out. We do need to disconnect this cable that's under here. There's lots of little cables, so we're going to flip this latch. So it has a little flip latch. I use my fingernail, pop it up, and then we can go ahead and pull this out, or we should be able to. I don't know, it might be trapped underneath all this stuff. Let's see, we'll try and use this little tool to kind of get underneath. And then we can kind of pull it back a little. Try and pull it back evenly on both sides. There we go, just like that. And there we go, we got that out. Okay, looks like there's some screws holding these fans down. I don't know if it's just the screws on top. Let me actually zoom out here. So I don't know if it's just the screws on top or if there's other stuff, but let's go ahead and start removing screws here. So there's one fan screw here. Does the fan come out? Not quite. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna remove all the screws in the grid pattern that is there. So I'm gonna start from the top and then work my way down. So we got 2 screws up here. Okay, we got one between the USB ports. And then we got one here holding the charge port DC jack down to the motherboard. We'll get that screw. And then we have this metal plate that we need to lift up and out. Okay. All right, so we'll get this. Oh, it's kind of tough. Okay, push down there, it helps lift it up, and there we go. All right, one other thing to do after disconnecting the battery, we're gonna carefully open the laptop, and we're gonna press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds to drain any residual power. This makes it a lot safer to work on, all right? Especially if you're gonna be removing like the LCD LVDS connector and other things. So we're just gonna hold this for another few seconds. Okay, that should be good. Then we're gonna close this up and let's go ahead and continue removing components. So we have this connector, which this keyboard, I believe this is for the RGB keyboard backlight controls. You see this whole little circuit board to control, and this is for the keyboard. So we're gonna flip this latch up. This is for the keyboard, RGB, everything. You got the touchpad, trackpad connector. Let me actually zoom in a little bit. But pretty much all these connectors are very similar. Flip the latch up. Once you do that, you can grab and kind of wiggle and pull. I usually have to like lift up slightly when I pull this back because the wings get caught on the raised bumps here. All right, keyboard connector, flip that latch. And we're gonna carefully pull that up slightly and then pull that out. There we go. Went back in on its own. Come on, stop going back in. This cable's short, so it keeps going back on its own because there's not much room here. Okay, there we go. Got the CMOS, BIOS. Oh, this piece just came off on its own. We'll set that aside. We'll see if I remember to put that back. It's not really necessary for anything, but yeah. All right, you got the CMOS, BIOS, RTC, real-time clock battery connector here. You can wiggle that and pull that out. You can see the red wires going towards the keyboard connector, black wires going towards this speaker connector. Make sure you don't flip it over. Same thing with the speaker connector here, white wires going to the CMOS and the blues going to the outside of the laptop. We're gonna disconnect that as well. Okay, you can see the cable goes over to the speaker, speaker here. The CMOS battery is just hidden underneath this plastic flap. We're gonna leave that in there. Okay, what else do we got that we need to remove? We got the other speaker connector here. Same thing, just wiggle that and pop it out. If you want, you can pull the speaker out. It looks like there's one screw holding this, looks like there's one screw holding that speaker down. So if you want, you're gonna have to remove this screw if you want to take the speaker out, but it just comes out just like that. Okay, I'm gonna actually just leave the speaker in there because I don't want to have to worry about more screws and stuff all over my desk. So all right, so we got those two. Let's scan our way down. We shouldn't have to remove the heatsink screws. We're gonna remove the fan screws. We got one here. Okay, and we got one here. Move those two. Okay, and the fans are still mounted to the thing somehow. I don't know if it's all this adhesive or if they have something else, but we're gonna go ahead and start removing the other screws. Sorry, I zoomed out quite a bit. Oops. All right, so we got this screw over here. Again, we're gonna leave the wireless card in there, but if you take that screw out, it will come out come up just like the what do you call? Just like the wireless card, or not the SSD. All right, so let's see. This is kind of caught here, so it doesn't just, this board doesn't just lift up. It's still being held down by something. We took all the screws we can see out. I don't know if there's any other hidden screws somewhere. The heat sinks do seem to kind of lift. I don't know if they're hiding some screws under here. Doesn't look like it. I don't see anything else holding these fans down, so I don't know. That's strange. Are they hiding some screws under the heatsink? Maybe, possibly. Sometimes they like to do that, but okay, it might just be stuck from the liquid spill. You can see as I'm pulling up here, it's kind of lifting and it's crackling, making some sounds. Oh, they are hiding screws underneath the heatsink. That sucks. So we're gonna have to switch over to a JIS1 or J1 screwdriver. And let's remove these screws, okay? So we're just gonna undo them and again, keep them in order. Okay. There's no specific order you need to remove these, but you're technically supposed to put them back in a specific order. Okay. Oh, how come these are all staying in? For some reason, only this one screw came out. I think that's weird. Why didn't this one stay in? Well, whatever. We'll remove that one screw and let's continue removing the rest. Looks like all these screws are staying in except for one. Okay, after you undo the screws, we're gonna go under here and lift. If it doesn't lift, you might have to kind of like sometimes twist it a little bit, but we're gonna wiggle this. And it looks like the adhesive's kind of holding it. I'm gonna help try and pull it up from here. There's adhesive, so be very careful. You don't wanna just yank it out. Okay, slowly, carefully. There we go. There's the heatsink. Wow, it's really dirty and dusty in there, so I guess it's a good thing I took that out. We are gonna clean that up. I'm gonna use a toothbrush, scrub off the dust, and then use a powerful air blower to blow it away. You do wanna be careful not to get the thermal pads all dirty. Thickness, people ask, it looks to be about 1 millimeter thick, but I don't know. I don't really remove and replace thermal pads usually, but looking at it, they appear to be about 1 millimeter thick. I don't know. All right, anyways, we'll set that aside for now. And then here you can see there's two screws here that were hidden. Okay, so we're gonna switch back to the J1 or JS1 screwdriver. They also hid some cables under here, so if you weren't careful and you just yanked it out, you're gonna end up breaking stuff. So that sucks. If you need to clean the fans, you do need to take the heatsink out. All right, let me zoom out a little bit more here. I guess we do need to take the wireless card out now so we can get access to that fan connector. Once you remove the screw, it pops up like that. And then again, you can just grab and wiggle to pull it out. There we go. All right, fan connectors. Let me see if I can zoom in to show you this because it's so small. But here we got the fan already all unscrewed. Now we can kind of pull this over. Take note, red wires going up towards the fan and the blue wires going down towards where the wireless card was. We're gonna grab this, and it helps if you have some good needle nose pliers that you can pinch the connector itself. But if you can't, you should be able to grab the wire as close as possible and wiggle it side to side, and eventually it should pop out, but I'm gonna use some needle nose pliers just to be safe. Okay, so you grab as close as you can to the connector, and then same thing, you kind of just wiggle it side to side, and it should eventually pop out as you're kind of slightly pulling on it, and there you go. And if you're replacing the fan, take note, the pins are showing exposed. You don't want to plug it in upside down where it shows the rainbow wires, okay? So we'll set the fan aside there. Let's go ahead and get the other fan. Let's see if I can get this in view. All right, same thing, lift it up, grab that connector, and you kind of just wiggle it. Okay, grab, wiggle, and slowly, carefully pull. This one's slippery. Oh man. Sorry, I know my hand's in the way, but It is what it is. All right, let me try and do it this way. Grab, and there we go. All right, so there we go. We got both fans out. And let's zoom out again. Okay, so we have these two cables, the LCD LVDS connector here. We're gonna flip this latch up, same thing. And then they kind of like held this down with adhesive, I'm pretty sure. So we're gonna have to scrape that out. Let's see, I have this little thin tool here. What you can do if you wanna be extra safe is you might want like a small bottle of like isopropyl alcohol. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna use this tool to guide it and just put a little bit there and then kind of guide that underneath the connector, okay? I kind of just wiggle it, put a little more, and you can see it's kind of slowly dissolving it to where I can get the tool further underneath. I think there is a bump or gap there that we're gonna have to go over, so it helps to kind of wiggle this side to side like this and get the isopropyl alcohol under there. Okay, they put like a fabric-y material there, so it's a little bit tricky, but there we go. Pull it out so it gets there, and you can see the tool now got underneath, and we can now carefully pull this out, right? Just like that. If you want, you can peel the whole thing up, but it's not really necessary unless you're taking the whole screen out. But there you go. There's also a little thing here that you got to be careful with. I'm not sure what that little piece is for. This might be the what do you call, I keep forgetting what that sensor is called, but it might be the sensor that detects when the screen is open and closed. I'm not sure. The Hall effect sensor, I think that's what it's called. All right, anyways, we got that out, and then it looks like there's two more cables over here. So what's this? Sorry, there's two more connectors there. Looks like JFPR1, so maybe fingerprint reader, and then JPWRB1, which is probably the power button. So fingerprint reader, and then power button is the one below it. Right, I guess they have the fingerprint reader built into the power button. So we'll flip this latch up and flip this latch up. We'll pull these two cables out. Again, you do have to pull slightly up as you pull back. All right. Okay, I think we got all the screws out now, so let's see if we can pull the motherboard up. Looks like this. We're gonna carefully, slowly lift. Make sure no cables are getting caught on the motherboard as you lift. It looks like it gets caught here, so we probably have to lift this side, and then this side will just angle out. They probably tuck some parts in there. All right, it's still somewhat stuck to the thing. Probably liquid damage or something is holding it down. Slowly, carefully, I'm working it up, and there we go. And now we can flip this over. And no, there's some little rubber pads here, but there's no, there's no exposed board components for me to look at. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to peel this stuff up and see underneath if there's anything weird. On top, I don't see anything weird, so if it did fry the motherboard, all the residue already kind of dried up and it didn't leave anything behind. So we'll see. But usually what I do is I'll take a toothbrush here and I'll just scrub it, so that way if there's any like minerals or anything kind of shorting it out, that will hopefully clean that off. Okay. All right. Just like this. And we'll wait before redoing the thermal paste, because if it doesn't turn on, then there's no point wasting thermal paste on this thing. But I'm gonna peel this off. Let me go ahead and brush and clean all this dust out real quick, and then I'll be back. So let me set this stuff aside. We're gonna also clean up under here. All right, and then I'll see you guys in a bit. Just let me pause this. I can't see. All right, I'm back. So we got the dust cleaned up here. There's still a little bit, but it doesn't really come off anymore. All right, you can see we cleaned up the fans here. All right, they're nice and clean, both of them. Then we got the heat sink. All right, you can see all the dust that was all clogged up there is now gone. All right, this one's still a little bit, looks a little bit dirty. I don't know if I can clean it better, but all right, so there we go. And again, we're just gonna put it back together and see if it powers up. If it does, then we'll redo the thermal paste. This is gonna be a little bit tricky because I had another job I had to do, and hopefully I remember where everything goes now. All right, we got all of that. Let's go ahead and grab the motherboard back over here. That's the motherboard. Let's go ahead and actually peel up the black plastic stuff and see if there's anything under there that looks corroded. So let's see, can we peel this up safely? It looks like they put the thermal stuff inside here, so it might get all wrinkly. It's already getting wrinkly, but all right, so we're just gonna peel this up. I'm trying to keep it as flat as possible as I peel it up to prevent it from getting too many of these wrinkles, but can't really be helped 100%. You can actually see a square here where the thermal pad thing is. Okay, we're gonna carefully continue peeling this up. Be careful at like these curves, because sometimes if you peel it, you can end up tearing. So especially at these sharp corners. Okay, and there we go. We got this off. Here you can see the thermal pad area. And let's take a look on this side of the motherboard. And I don't really see anything wrong with this. Like, I mean, sometimes you can't see corrosion, but yeah, sometimes it can be it shorted something out. The other thing, possibility, is it could be it fried just the power button itself. Let's see if I can pull the power button out and see what's under there. Let's clean this. Okay, so we're gonna drop this back in place. There's all this stuff stuck to it, but can't really get rid of all of it. All right, we'll line this back up. Okay, try and get it as centered as possible. Stick that all back down. I don't think this plastic wrap stuff is really that important, but it was there. Let's go ahead and put it back. That's how I work. Right, whether it's needed or not. All right, so we have the power button and fingerprint reader stuff under here. Let's see if we can even get that out. I think it's just held in with some adhesive, so I don't know if we'll be able to peel this up. Let's see. Okay, so here you can see this is kind of peeling. I'm going to use this to get underneath and kind of wobble it. We can actually use a little bit of the isopropyl rubbing alcohol to make it peel up easier. So we'll get under there, get a little on there, and let's see, you can see how much easier it walks underneath. Okay, all right, and there we go. Right, and it looks like they stuck it down on the button itself back here. I don't want to get isopropyl rubbing alcohol in there, even though it shouldn't cause any harm, but I'm going to try and avoid it. So we're going to carefully peel that up. All right, it looks like this is held in with 2 screws. Most likely we can get it out with the JIS-0 screwdriver, but if not, we'll use a JIS-00. But let's go ahead and open that up. All right. Okay, hopefully I can remember where all the screws came from, because it's quite a few. All right, so there's 2 screws holding this in place. All right, get that guy and this guy out. Okay, now that we got the 2 screws, you can see actually the button's already kind of coming up on its own. This screw, okay, it was kind of stuck in there. But you can see it's kind of coming up, and it just looks like that. So not really much I can do with it. All right, and then if you want to replace it, I guess you'd have to peel this up. So this cable is its own separate thing, and then it connects here. So there's 2 parts, and they're kind of attached together. So yeah, this is the fingerprint circuitry board, and then this is the power button. Sorry, the power button's this orangey brownish yellow one. Anyways, let's go ahead and get the screws back in. Give me a second, I got some messages. All right, let's get these 2 screws back in, and then we'll fold this back over. All right, and that's with the JS0. We can roll this back over and stick that back down. Okay, so I don't know. I don't really see anything that looks like corroded or burnt. So I guess we're going to have to reassemble this and just pray for the best. And yeah, for now, give me a second. I'll be back. All right, I'm back. Let's go ahead and get this thing reassembled. Let's zoom out here. Let's see, how far do I need to zoom out for this? All the way? I don't know. Okay. So, first things first, I guess let's get the motherboard in. Okay, make sure you keep the cables and stuff out of the way so when you put this back, it's not going to be crushed by anything. We do need to get this post over here, and we do need to get this cable, the speaker, out of the way. Okay, you might have to go in at an angle like this so that the USB-C ports and stuff can go in. Alright, then we gotta pull these cables out of the way, the fingerprint and power button cables. Make sure that they don't get crushed. Okay, I'm gonna slowly lower it. Make sure to pull all these other cables out of the way. Okay, keyboard cable, speakers, and all that. And of course, the LCD LVDS cable. All right, this one out. There we go. All right. So what we had the. I guess let's get these cables in first. Let me zoom in. Oops, sorry if the sound was weird. I forgot I left it charging. Okay, so we're gonna flip these latches up and get these cables back in. Okay, get that in all the way. Slide your finger over to latch it down. Same thing with this one. I like to use there's a thick plasticky tab that helps you guide this. So you can grab that and get this in. Come on. Line that up, get that in, and then same thing, slide your finger over to latch it down. Right, now we got the LCD LVDS connector. Make sure that latches up. Get that in. Okay. Then slide your finger over the latch, and then we'll stick this all back down. Okay, next thing we have are the two fans. So let's go ahead and get the fans back in. Zoom out a little bit here. Get this in. Again, make sure that you have the fan connector facing the right direction. Pinch that back into place. Drop that fan on top. Okay. And we did have the screws that were hidden here. So there's one screw right here. Get that screw in. And also try and line up this screw mount as well so it's centered and not like crooked. All right, we're gonna go over to the other side. Same thing, let's get this fan in. Pinch that. All right, get that back in. And then we'll tighten that down. Good. All right, let's go ahead and start getting all the other components back in. We had the wireless card. Okay, down here, goes in at an angle, just like that. Once you get that in, lower this down, tighten the screw into place. All right, we got these two wireless antennas we're gonna get back in as well. Okay, so you can get the gray or white one in first. Make sure it latches. You can see if you hook it right, it'll just stay attached on its own. So you just kind of move it around on top and it will catch. All right, just like that. Once it catches, then you can go ahead and push it down. All right, there we go. We got the speaker cable here that we need to get back in as well. Make sure to line that up, get that in, and pinch that in. Okay, the other side, we have the, let's get all of these. So we have the keyboard backlight connectors here. Get that in. Okay, make sure that's in all the way, and then slide your finger over to latch it down. Touchpad or trackpad connector here. Pull that back, line that up, there we go. And then slide your finger over to latch that down. Make sure that's up, get this down, and get this all into place. Okay, pull that up to get the wings over, and then slide your finger over to latch it down. CMOS, BIOS, RTC, real-time clock battery, line that up, pinch that in. Another speaker, line this up, pinch that in. Uh-oh, we did forget to get this cable out. Luckily, we still have access to this fan, so we can take that screw and we can move this fan out of the way, and then we can take this screw out. Okay, we might have to also take that one out. Yep, okay, so we'll take that screw out and this screw out. Alright, and now we should be able to lift this up to get that cable out from under there. Perfect. Alright, and then we'll just get this back down into place. Make sure this latches up. Okay, once that latches up, you can go ahead and get this lined up and into place. Okay, put that in. Alright, just like that. Slide your finger over to latch it down. Let's get these two screws back in. Okay, and this one. Hopefully we're not missing any other connectors. I don't remember if there was anything connected to that tiny connector right here. I don't think we had anything there. Get the fan back lined up into place. Okay, get that screw in. Again, make sure to line up this so it's centered. There we go. All right, what else do we got here? So up here we had the two screws. We have the one between the two USB ports here. Okay, we have this metal bracket that you need to hook this thing into there first. So go in at an angle, hook it in. Come on, there you go, hook it in and drop that down. Alright, what else did we have? Heatsink, we had two and then one. Okay, so they did have arrows here. So I believe it was this one screw. And then I think the other ones was the two in the fans. So we had the two for the fans, one here, and one here. Alright, I think we got everything reconnected. Let's zoom out a bit more and let's get the heatsink back on. Again, we're not going to be completely putting this back yet because we want to just make sure that the computer's working. If it works, then we're going to actually clean up all this thermal paste and redo it properly. Okay? Alright, lower this down. Good. Okay. Got this screw that came out. And we actually need to change back to the JAS1 or J1 screwdriver. Okay, so these are numbered. There's a number 1 here. I'll twist it backwards to hear the click, and then 2, 3. Second one, click, 1, 2, 3. Third one, click, 1, 2, 3. Fourth one, click, 1, 2, 3. Fifth one, click, 1, 2, 3. Sixth one, click, 1, 2, 3. I twist it backwards first to make sure it lines up right, and then 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, these are gonna actually just tighten it all the way, so we can just tighten them all the way now. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, so we got all of that in. We have this SSD that we need to put back in that was going in down this way. Okay, so get that in. Goes in at an angle, just like that. Oh, we do need to switch back to the JS or J0 screwdriver. Okay. Get that screw in. Good. We had this piece of plastic here that, how was it covering this? Oh, think it was like this somehow. I don't see where that circle was lining up. Probably need to rewatch my video to see where it was, but I think it was something like this. I don't know. I don't know why it has these arrows here, or was it like this? Oh, it was probably like this to cover this piece. Okay, I think it was like that. All right, now what we got to do, we got the little cover here, so we got to get this back on. Line this up. There's the little things that hold it in place. So you line up that side and then make sure to check the side as well. And once you get like one side here and here lined up, then you should be good to just click it down. All right, let's get the battery back in and then plug it in, see if we got any life. So we got the battery, line this back up, pinch that all back in. Okay, it sounded like it was making some spark sound, so that's not good, but we'll see. All right, we'll pull this back up here, get this all lined up, and lower this back down. Oh, I forgot, this was on top of the SSD, so we do need to take the SSD back out. It's a dumb design because you don't need to pull the battery out to change the SSD. All right, so let's get this screw back in. Okay, and we'll get the SSD back in. I don't know why they put a battery screw under there. It's weird. It's kind of strange. All right, let's get these screws back in. And I have a feeling it's not going to do anything, but we'll find out. All right. Last screw. Okay, let's go ahead and open this up and push the button and see. Oh, I see the num lock. I see the power button light. Are we going to have life on the screen though? Also on this laptop, if you notice, there's no CMOS, BIOS, or RTC real-time clock battery. So yeah, there's no separate BIOS CMOS battery. The battery is all being from the main battery, pretty sure. Okay, so there's still nothing on the screen, and the power button is lit up. And sometimes it takes a long time for it to start up because the CMOS or BIOS was reset, but we'll see what happens in this case. This thing doesn't stick, so. Oh, my neighbor's trying to charge up their car battery. I think they need a new battery though. Oh, and there we go. You see it turned itself on. Legion. All right, hopefully it's booting. That's a good sign, and it's booting. So I think we should be okay. We just got to put the bottom cover back on, and yeah, that should be pretty much all there is to it. We'll let it load all the way, and then usually it's a good idea to restart the computer one time after. So it's showing 10:48 Tuesday, September 26th, which is obviously wrong. It's October already. I believe it's October 3rd now. Yeah, October 3rd. So yeah, anyways, we're gonna restart one time and hopefully that'll be good. All right, hopefully this computer is good. Anyways, that's pretty much all there is to it. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. We're gonna put the bottom cover back on. Again, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and if the video helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. I am going to redo the thermal paste now because we confirmed and verified that the computer is working. So I guess you can stay for that. And yeah, if you can't help or contribute monetarily, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well. But yeah, other than that, not really much else to show. Let's go ahead and do the thermal paste. It's a very common like repair and stuff. So I guess let me make sure it turns off and then we'll be extra safe and pull the battery again. Okay, so it's completely off. We're gonna go ahead and pull the SSD out first. We're gonna play it the extra safe route, and we'll go ahead and pull the battery as well. Be careful not to pull the SSD up too high. You don't want to break it. Okay, then we got the 4 battery screws we're gonna take back out. If the paste is still like liquidy and pasty, you can actually reuse the paste if you didn't buy any, or if you don't have any. We'll actually test that and see. All right, now that we got those 4 screws, we're gonna lift this side up and then slide it forward. Same thing, lift this back up again, get underneath, grab the cable, wiggle and pull, and there we go. Let's go ahead and get the RAM box off. If you can't get it out, you might have to use some like suction cup or tape on top to help pull it, but there we go, just like this. Set that aside. All right, now that we got the battery out, let's carefully open this and then again hold the power button for at least 15 seconds to drain any residual power. Again, this makes it a lot safer to work on. A lot of people ask if they need to do this. It takes 15 seconds. If you can't take 15 seconds to make your computer a lot less likely to break, then I don't know, you shouldn't be working on your computer because you're likely going to destroy it. All right, anyways, there we go. Let's go ahead now and take all the screws out. We are pretty sure we needed the JAS or J1 screwdriver. All right, very important as well, switch your screwdriver bit. Don't keep using the one that's too small. You don't want to end up stripping out the screws and then you'll be stuck with the thing in place forever. All right, so let's get these all out. Okay, last screw here. All right, now that we got all those screws out, we'll get under here, lift it up, grab here, kind of wiggle. Okay, so here you can see all the paste. There's like so much extra. Let me use one of those plastic tools and see if it moves around like a paste, then we're good. If it moves around like a solid, then we're gonna have to replace all of that. So let's see here first. Okay, you can see how solid this is. Okay, we're gonna have to redo all this paste. This is not gonna do. I'm gonna scrape all this up. Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to scrape this all into a trash can, but for now we're just gonna loosen it up. Okay, same thing over here. You can see how it's like a solid piece, not a paste. So we're gonna have to replace all of that. All right, scrape that all out. There we go. All right, I'm gonna get this, tip it over into the trash can, and I'll be back. See you guys in a bit. Oops, I can't push it from here, I can't see. All right, so here you can see we've got most of it cleaned up. I'm gonna use now some paper towel and some isopropyl alcohol to clean off the paste. All right, so we'll get that. And we'll just wipe this off. Be careful not to put too much pressure on this. You don't wanna bend the heat pipes. All right, the paste that's stuck in the plastic, it's not going to come out, don't worry about it. The main part that you need to clean off is the stuff on the copper. Here you can see. All right, you can try wiping up some, but it's not like it's going to affect anything, so focus mainly on the copper part and it should be good. All right. All right, so we got that cleaned off. Now we got to clean off the motherboard. Here's the motherboard. Okay, we're gonna basically do similar, if not the same thing. You do want to hold this upside down when you do this because you don't want to get all this paste all inside the motherboard. All right, but as you can see, they kind of get it all into these components and they don't even care. I don't know. They usually put way too much paste on these. You don't need so much paste that it's overflowing out into these resistors and capacitors here, okay? And now we gotta scrape all the stuff off the GPU or CPU. Sorry, this is the CPU. Okay. I don't know why they do that. They always overfill it. And the GPU, you can see how it's like not a paste, it's like kind of hard. Okay, so we gotta scrape all that stuff off. And also, of course, make sure you're grounded if you're touching the motherboard and stuff. If you didn't already know that, you should. Okay. Okay, scrape all of that off, and be very careful not to accidentally scrape the little capacitors and resistors on there. And after I scrape all this off, I usually will use the toothbrush to help get the stuff all in between there out. All right, kind of takes quite a bit of time to get that out, but it does eventually all come out. All right, so we scrape that, and we'll do the same over here, and then we'll use the toothbrush and get the rest. Again, I'm going to turn this upside down over a trash can to make it easier to get the stuff out. But this is just how I kind of started out to get the big chunks of it. All right, so that's it. I'm gonna scrape this all out with or brush it all out with a toothbrush over the trash can, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye for now. All right, so here it is all cleaned up. Now we got to use the isopropyl alcohol and get it all shiny again. Remove any residue that's left on the CPU and GPU dies. All right, so just like this on the silvery parts. There we go, dry it up. The old paste is kind of stuck real strong here. I can actually feel the residue. It's not getting like super clean. All right, and that's pretty much good as we're gonna get it, most likely. Okay, so the amount of paste you use here is actually very small. In this one, we'll use about the size of a grain of rice, and this one's slightly more. But instead, we're just going to put it in a circle in the middle. Okay, so just like that. It does look like it's not much, but this stuff spreads super thin when you put the heatsink on top. So you don't need to worry about it. It's actually going to spread really tiny. So this is what that looks like. Okay. And then this one, because this is actually like not, this one's more rectangular, we're going to actually go out, all right, like a lump. Okay. Just like that. And then we're going to kind of shape it like a grain of rice. Okay, might need a little bit more there. Okay, so we'll just spread it out like that, just like a big lump. Okay, there you go. So here you can see what that looks like, just like this. All right, and now we're gonna put the heatsink back on top and just screw it down, and we should be good to go. So let's go ahead and grab the heatsink back. Okay, so we're gonna get this. You gotta line up the screws and just drop it back down. Okay, or I guess you can also line up the outer parts, but all right, there we go. All right, let's get this screw over here. Okay, we'll start with one. Click until it twists backwards till it clicks. 1, 2, 3. Second one. Click. 1, 2, 3. Third one. Click. 1, 2, 3. Fourth one. Click. 1, 2, 3. Fifth one. Click. 1, 2, 3. Sixth one. Click. 1, 2, 3. Then we'll go back here. 2, 3. Tighten it all the way down. Tighten that all the way down. Tighten this all the way down. Tighten this all the way down. Tighten this all the way down. And the last one, tighten all the way down. Okay, now that we got all the screws in, that's going to slowly be pushing and spreading the thermal paste. Let's get the RAM cover box back on top. Okay, get that lined up. Okay, get that all lined up. And then push that down. Push that back down. Sorry if my head was in the way. I wasn't looking up to see. All right, let's get the battery back in. Line this up. Get that in. Pinch that all the way in. Good. Then we slide this forward, get the little feet in, and then slide it back. Lower that back down. Get these 4 screws back in. We do need to switch back to the J0 or JS0 screwdriver. Okay, and we'll get these 4 screws back in. It's going to take a long time to start up again because we did remove the battery. So again, keep that in mind. All right. Yeah, this one doesn't stay anymore, but I believe it goes like that. Okay. All right, now let's get the SSD back in. Goes in slightly at an angle like this. Pinch that in. Lower that down, and we'll get this screw in. Okay, good. Get the bottom cover back on. So the way you do that, you tilt it so that the front where the opening is goes down first. Okay, because we need to hook those in. Let me see if I can show you actually. So there's a hook here, here, here. Okay, and those need to hook into that. So you gotta slide that in. You might have to push it down while you slide it. There you go. You can see now it's all aligned. Then you can go around the edges and push that all down. All right, and that's pretty much it. We'll get all the screws back in. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, please make sure again to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. That's not just something people say, it really does help. All right, if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. All right, and if you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you can watch a few of my other videos. That'll help you to learn how to fix more devices or show you random products and stuff that you might like. And also, if you could like and comment on those, because that will tell the algorithm that you're interested in my work and that other people will benefit from it. All right, so that's pretty much it. Let's get the last few screws in and power it back up. It is a long power up process like it was the first time, so keep that in mind again to give it some time. All right, I'm getting a bunch of messages now, so all right, well, let's go ahead and power this up. All right, power light is on. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. And actually, the Legion sign came on much quicker this time. Interesting. But that's pretty much it. I don't know. Oh, wait, it does have a separate CMOS battery. I'm dumb. Okay, I didn't disconnect the CMOS BIOS battery this time. That's why it went much quicker. But anyways, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.